Knock, knock, open up. It's the police. But that poses the question, do you really need to open up? Hi, my name is Max, and I'm one of the criminal defense attorneys here with FrizWoods. And in this video, I'm going to discuss warrantless searches of homes and answer the question, do I really need to allow police in my home, and can they come in without a warrant? This video will primarily deal with Fourth Amendment law. The Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution is the one that prohibits searches and seizures of your home and your personal effects and your person absent a warrant issued upon probable cause. Now, the law has evolved to allow certain unwarranted searches and seizures, and I'll talk about some of the situations where an unwarranted search or seizure can occur and still be legal. In all of these cases, the burden rests upon the government to provide a basis for a warrantless search, but I'll talk about some of the common reasons that officers of the law and government agents enter homes without warrants. Let's first establish what a warrant is. A warrant is a court order that allows an officer to search a certain area or arrest a certain person based upon probable cause provided by the officer in an affidavit. The long and short of it is that an officer makes a written application to a court, alleges that they have probable cause to believe X or Y and need to search X or Y or arrest X or Y person. An officer of the court, like a judge, will then sign the order or the warrant, and that means when the officers go knock, knock, they don't need to ask to come in. They probably kick the door in if you don't answer. But let's presume for the purposes of the rest of this video that all of these situations are ones in which officers don't have warrants, but still somehow come into your house. Now let's figure out if it can be justified under the law. First of all, the most common way that officers enter homes without warrants is by consent. Knock, knock, open up, and somebody answers the door with apparent authority, whether that's you, a cohabitant, a family member, or even perhaps an overnight guest. If that person allows the police officer into the home and nobody else protests, then perhaps the search of a home can be valid based upon consent. Now, when we're dealing with consent, we usually want to evaluate whether or not that consent was voluntary. Did the officer pull a gun and ask, "Can I come in?" You get the idea. Additionally, if somebody else in the home says no, you can't search, then perhaps that is actually not legal, because while one person can consent, if the other person revokes that consent, the search is invalid as to them. And that's what we saw happen in Georgia v. Randolph in the Supreme Court in 2006, where a cohabitant said you may not enter, where another said you could, and the Supreme Court said that's not a good enough consent. What are other ways that officers get inside of your home to search? Exigency. Exigency, essentially the emergency doctrine, exigent circumstances exist when certain things can be alleged by an officer to allow entry into a home. Some of the most common ones are things like hot pursuit. If you're on the run, suspected of just shooting somebody, go into a house, well, the warrant requirement's not going to save you from those officers' exigent circumstances to enter the home. If you hear knock, knock, it's the police, and you start flushing every toilet in your house, and they suspect that you're flushing drugs or other evidence down the toilet, then they may be able to enter to preserve evidence. If you hear knock, knock, it's the police, and somebody is in imminent danger inside, help, oh my God, he's beating me up, the officer can see it, you get the idea, there's an immediate threat to life or safety to somebody and the officer reasonably believes that, then perhaps exigent circumstances will allow the entry there. One of the other common reasons we see to search a home is searching pursuant to an arrest. Knock, knock, it's the police, and your wife answers, and she says, sure, come on in. They're there to arrest you. While the officers can't search your entire home, they may be allowed to search the immediate area around where you're arrested, and that comes from the Chimmel case. Bear in mind that when a warrantless search or seizure happens and your attorney challenges it, the burden typically shifts to the state, and does here in Maryland, to provide a basis for that warrantless search. This video discussed a few of the common bases, but remember, it's incumbent on the state to actually provide the evidence that shows that one of these apply. So, knock, knock, it's the police. Do you have to answer the door? No. Will they be allowed to search your home absent one of the things that were discussed in this video? Perhaps no. But at the end of the day, if an officer searches your home, it's required that you challenge that search. You move to suppress it in order to get to the heart of what the basis was for searching the home, unless they just had a warrant, in which case that's a totally different kind of motion. So, If you've got a case in Maryland that involves a warrantless search of your home or perhaps a warrantless search of your vehicle, we would be happy to talk to you about your case. If your case is somewhere else, unfortunately, our practice is limited to Maryland, but perhaps this video might provide you at least some help, as all of the situations discussed here were U.S. Supreme Court cases. I wish you the best of luck. Bye-bye.